dowels. My dowels don't line up on the end. It's because the distance is set different. Hey my friends, a while back, a couple of years ago, a few years ago, I don't remember, before I was doing YouTube videos, I did a band around a countertop and I put in dowel rods in the corners for support. And after doing it, it made a decorative corner, and I didn't realize that until I had done it. And it was done by using one of these. This is a pocket hole jig. Okay, very simple little tool. There's many other versions of it. This countertop model back here also, plus a few others. And I wanted to show y'all what you basically do with one of these is clamp it down on a piece of wood, line this edge up with your joint between your two woods, clamp it down, drill a hole through here, and it leaves a little recessed pocket where you put a screw in and connect two pieces of wood together. And man, does it work great for that. But it can do so much more. Oh yes it can. Let me show you guys. This is a great little thing to have. Hey my friends, this is a Kreg pocket hole jig right here. What you do with a machine like this is mark on the visual where you can see where you want your pocket hole to be on the bottom side, so you can line it up with the center mark and drill your pocket hole. The arm will pull down on the clamp so you don't have to tighten it every time. Once you have it set for a thickness, it'll automatically do it. But I like to set them a little tight. No rush here. And that is a pocket hole joint. Small bit comes out of the other end, leaves a slot for a screw to go in, and a recess down there in the bottom. There you go, you can see it, where the screw can go all the way through and screw to the other board through there, making a very strong joint and completely invisible from the front side, or what we have as the bottom at the moment. That is the whole purpose of a pocket hole jig. My friends, you can also create the same pocket hole with a little jig like this. Costs a whole lot less than this machine. What you simply do with this is clamp it down on the end right here, flush with the edge of your board. You don't have to use this Kreg clamp, but you can have your clamp preset before you shoot a video. Clamp it down. Now with the drill, of course, attached to the other end of the bit, you go through and drill out the same pocket with a cordless drill. A lot cheaper way of doing it than with this machine right here. But they both create the exact same thing. Kreg also makes a couple of jigs like this for pocket holes drilling. You put your board in, you can do horizontally, or yeah, vertically, excuse me, getting mixed up there. Clamp it down and do the same thing. Drill your pocket hole drill. Your pocket hole screw with a cordless drill creates the same effect. Another way of doing it. That's pretty much it for making a pocket hole. Except how to hide them, of course. Cover them up after you drill them if you want to. Hello my friends, I have an 8x8 piece of wood here. Walnut, bird's eye, oak, whatever you want to put your design into. For your accent front or your decorative piece, whatever the case may be. This one right now is a set of plywood. A set of plywood. Piece of plywood. It's my setup board. As I hope y'all can see, I drew a line from corner to corner. Then I drew a line right down the middle, getting it exactly lined up. The edge of the board is going to sit closer to the fence on my straight edge than it is on my point when it's in there like this. So I want my design to come out fairly center, so I've got to play with the distances a little bit. I made a sample block for me with the different settings on the saw. At 18 millimeters back it cuts here, at 13 it cuts here, lined up flush with the fence it cuts here. So I know how far in on the face I'm cutting by where I set the fence. I went ahead and made myself a little setup board at 3 different settings. So I'll get my first setting that I want to use for the corner pieces and make these 4 cuts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright. Then I'll get my second setting where I want that piece to fall into place, because remember, the corner is a longer distance than the flat edge. Excuse me. So I'll pick mine. This will all become real apparent, I hope, real soon. It's a little hard to explain when what you're doing is upside down, but cutting my 4 corners first, cutting my 4 sides last. Zup, 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 zup. Zup, 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 zup. Zup, 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 zup. Zut up. And then it's done. And you come up with something like that. And then it's done. And you come up with something like that. My friends, if you want to do that same thing with this little clamp-on jig like I showed you, there is no center mark on the end of this, and there is no center mark on the rear of it. Now, that's easy enough. You simply put one, scribe it with a knife. Do it with a tape measure and mark it, or you have a center to go off of right here on the top to put a scribe down the middle so you have a center line. Same thing on the back. Measure it, take a razor and scribe into the plastic for a center line. Line your center line up with your center line, clamp it down there and drill it. Going around the process, doing the same thing. Okay, that's how you could do it with the handheld one. It's a little easier with the machine. Actually, it's a lot easier with the machine, but it can be done with just this little handheld device right here. I call it handheld device, clamp down device, excuse me. Alright guys, on this one I laid it out and drew 2 circles, and now I'm going to go around and mark all my centers very carefully, taking my time to be as accurate as I can. Getting them all right in the center, off of the lines where they cross the cuts. My friends, here I'm using a 15-degree sled. Alright my friends, I have a choice of filling these 2 ways. Normally in a pocket hole screw, you would put a screw in through here to connect to your next board that sits over here, and it screws them together. And again, that's the whole purpose of a pocket hole screw. Well, it used to be. Right? You can either use these little store-bought ones that Kreg makes that are already wedged and angled to fill pocket holes. They don't fit perfectly. You have to sand them down after you put them in, and they sell them in I think 4 or 5 species of wood if I'm not mistaken, but they simply slide in like so. You put a little glue, and slide them in. Then sand it down. That's one way you can do them. The other way you can do them is with 3/8 dowel rod, right? Just plain old 3/8 dowel rod. Again, put some glue. When you use the dowel rod, you have to flush trim them. That's another way to do them. And then of course, use this, you still have to sand. Not near as much as you do those, but that you still have to sand. So, wanted to show you how you could put them in. Well, at least put these in here, that is. Alright guys, y'all don't just sit there and sip on something. Pay attention and make sure I get the grain orientation right. When you're putting it in, I know it's just little dowels, but it can make a big difference. Pay attention to the grain. Do your best to keep it all running in the same direction. Alright guys, you usually don't have to wait too long before you can cut them. If you don't cut them as you go, it'll get in the way. Your other ones will get in the way of making them easy to cut. Imagine trying to cut these if I had all of these sticking out. See, Bootsy, sweetie, why are you bothering me? And look what you did. You drug that slipper all the way from the office. You are just too much. You are just too much, my darling. You're having too much fun. You're having too much fun. Yes, you are. Here, say hello to people. Say hello. Hello, kissy kissy. Hello, give the people a big kiss. Hey my friends, it's time for a little sanding here. So I'm going to get these sanded up and then we'll take a look and see. Alright my friend, here is the top of my workbench, bed frame, coffee table, toolbox stand, dining room table, you name it. I'm putting my top together and I just don't want to glue them. I want to support them nicely with some pocket joints or some dowels or the Kreg biscuits. All the good stuff above. All those work real good. They don't do much for looks though. So, we're going to glue these together first with yellow glue, right? I could put my pocket hole screws in, put my yellow glue, and screw them together through my pocket holes. But wait, there's more. Alright my friends, I took it out of the clamp, got it glued up, sanded it up a little bit, all that boring stuff. Now what I've done here, I sure hope these are showing up on the camera. I'm going to check in a minute. But I divided my distance in half and I'm right at 5 inches. So 2.5 and 2.5 and drew a center line. Same on both sides. Picked a random distance. I went 1.25 inches and 1.25 inches. Depending on the size of your rail or joist or brace, whatever you want to call it. The width would determine. And I have the pattern going on an outward angle, like so. I sure hope those pencil marks are showing up, right? You could do it reverse. You could change the angle. It doesn't necessarily have to be that way. I just did it that way. And I did the same on both sides. Split the distance in half. Put my straight line. Picked inch and a quarter. Took the speed square. Set it at 12 degrees. And marked my lines. Same on both sides. 12 degrees. Marked my lines. 12 degrees, not important. That's just what I picked. You could go 45, 30, whatever you like. I just went with 12 on mine. I'm going to put my pocket hole jig in here. These do not come with a center line in the middle. Why? I don't know. It makes it so much easier to line them up on a straight line. Kreg, if you see this, put a center mark in them. So when somebody's setting them down on a straight line, they can find the center. But I went ahead and marked my center. I hope it's showing up right there. And I marked my center in the back. Scaled it up and marked it. So I could put it straight following my lines. Where I had my lines. That's why I marked the center. I'm going to clamp it down and drill my holes. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let me get it clamped up, guys. Alright guys, I got y'all sitting off to the side a little bit so the clamp didn't block your view. But I've got it clamped down. Got my block on. Right with my lines front and back. Right where I want it. And first I'm going to drill through with the pocket hole screw. Drill through with a long, this size bit is 3/8. There we go, my friends. Now I'm going to do the same thing on all my other 5 marks so y'all don't have to watch that 5 times. If I did not want my dowels to come out the back side, I could simply stop without going through with the long bit. But I want my dowels to come all the way through. I'm using the pocket hole jig to create a dowel jig. I'm not using it for the screw inside. But I'm doing the dowel a little different. Here we go, my friends. I'll give y'all a close-up of my drill out. And on the back. Right there. Let's see if the camera can find a way to not die out on us. Guys, this is what's called a flush trim saw. Most of you know what they are. They're not, the blades, the teeth are strictly sideways on them. They do not protrude in or out. So they will flush cut a surface. Just like this. And I apologize so much for that silly camera. I've been having batteries die on me quickly quite a bit lately. Maybe it's time for new batteries. I tried that old power cord plugged in constantly thing, and man, that just doesn't work for me. Working around the shop, having to drag all them cords around gets to be a trip hazard. So I'm trying to make do with the batteries. Hey my friends, sorry about the camera dying out on me there while I was putting those dowels in. I'm gonna get this thing sanded up and clear coated and then show you all the finish and give you my thoughts on it in a little bit, but I wanted to show you something first. I went ahead and drew my lines back on it again just in case y'all wanted to create this pattern. Now don't get me wrong, you do not have to follow my exact pattern. This is just one of many. I could have put a third row of inlays right here, and right here. I could have turned on an outward angle right here. I could have added another one back here. I could have went off this way with another one. I mean, it's just endless. But I wanted you to see the lines. My straight line, I picked 12 degrees inward, ½ inch back on the Kreg block here. 1-inch block back on the Kreg block here, and I say 1/2 inch and 1 inch from the seam. 1/2 inch from the seam is what I went on that one. 1 inch from the seam is what I went on that one, and of course half on that one. And the lines are to make sure you get them dead center, right down the middle. And like I was saying, Kreg ought to put a center mark in their block, in case you didn't want to just slap it up against the edge and drill it. But anyway, wanted to talk to y'all about that. I'm going to stand it up, clear coat it up, make it look nice and pretty, so y'all can see what this can look like. Guys, the patterns you can create with this little thing are just amazing. Kreg did a wonderful job with this. Alright, putting that little inlay into wood in different places. But like I say, you need to put a center mark on it. Focus. You need to put that center mark. So when you set it on a line in the middle of a board, you know on both ends you've got it lined up straight with your pattern. Okay? Okay, my friends, wanted y'all to check this out. See how my screw holes don't line up, my dowels don't line up on the end? It's because the distance is set different. By using the pocket hole jig to create the line, then drilling all the way through and putting dowels in, I get a very, very strong joint. Just butting the two pieces of wood together, gluing them, and then putting the dowels in. Now you could do the pocket hole jig, put the screw, let it dry, then take it out and put the dowels in. But 6 of one, half a dozen of another. You don't have to put the screw in if you clamp them up and glue them, or screw them and then take the screw out and put the dowels in. Makes for an extremely strong joint and looks very, very nice. Makes a nice decorative feature. Imagine this going around all 4 sides of a workbench top, or a coffee table, or a bed frame, a door front. Whatever you want to do with it. You can make some nice designs with it. So, wanted y'all to see that, and I want to point out one other thing. I had to use white pine for my 3/8 dowels. That's all I had. The last time I did this many years ago, I was using red oak, and I used purple heart for my dowels, which is a very hard wood. White pine is very soft, and these very thin ends want to break and fray on you. So don't use white pine. I wanted to get the concept across here, so I wasn't too concerned about it. But again, guys, that makes for a really strong joint, very pretty decorative joint. And like I was saying earlier, you don't have to stick to this pattern. You can do so many other different types of patterns on the board. You can also just do some decorative pieces to line out on door fronts, covers, drawers. Imagine this thing cut in half like that, and that being just the top of your arch, the top of your doorway, whatever you wanted to make with it. The patterns are endless. I could spend a year making all the patterns to show you. This one came out really nice. Really, really nice. Just got it all finished. That would make a beautiful jewelry drawer top, chest of drawer top, door inlay. And again, guys, that's all just done with that little pocket hole jig and a drill press and some dowels, wood dowels of different colors. Look real close there. In the center, I've got yellow heart and purple heart. On the outsides, I've got some mahogany and some more purple heart. And it creates just, and if you look at the end of these, you'll see they're all perfect. I had some little short purple heart dowels that were 2 inches long. They weren't long enough to do the all the way through ones on the other ones there. But when you use a hardwood, they all come out perfect. Don't use the soft white pine like I did. I've got one other way of doing something very similar to this, which I wasn't going to explain on this video. It would make way too long of a video. And I know how you guys are about long videos. Excuse me, guys. I've been fighting a cough here. So I wanted to get it out to you. And I will show you the other way of doing it on another video here real soon, I promise. So I hope y'all are doing well and staying safe and all is good. I'm going to get back at it here, my friends. Good to be with you. good to be seen. And if I can answer any questions on that, y'all know I will answer everybody. And on a note on that, I was going back checking things. I constantly go back on my YouTube analytics and look at comments and everything that's going on. And I noticed when I got a year back, there were several comments that I had not responded to. And I don't understand that, because I constantly check my Hell for Review section, and I constantly, daily, check my Have Not Responded section. And I probably missed about 20 comments, I think, and I do not understand why. Because I truly pride myself in answering everyone, and I want to. So guys, if I don't ever respond to your comment, man, reach back out again, believe me. I want to respond to everybody. I love chatting with y'all, all my friends. It's my pleasure. It's my joy. So please, if I don't for some reason respond, you reach back out to me. Something went wrong and I missed it. Okay? All right. Thank you, guys. I'm on to the next one.